If you go back to a couple of quick, decisive moves you made during that COVID moment, because I think all of us as leaders, I was in the same boat. We serve thousands of healthcare practices which literally close their doors. What were a couple of the quick pivots that you guys had to make, and without the luxury of time and analysis that you made decisively?
Well, so going back to that, what would we do differently if we had to build the company all over again? And then the punchline of we're going to have to build the company all over again.
We have no choice.
Yeah, that provided a really clear North Star for a series of very difficult decisions. So one of which was in April of 2020, so quite early, we had to shrink the company. And there was absolutely no way we were going to survive with negative revenue at the size of company that we were. Our business, a big portion of our business, were small music venues that were the first to close their doors and some of the last to open their doors. And so we had to make this decision fast. And I wanted to make it early because I wanted these fine people to then be able to land in companies that weren't going to be doing layoffs. And we had a whole part of Eventbrite dedicated to making sure that they landed. And so while it was a really tough decision, and certainly one that I look back on and wish I hadn't had to make, I know that the way that we stepped through it was really thoughtful, both from a timing perspective as well as a hands-on perspective, having the time to actually help people get new jobs before the next, wave of crises hit. The second was that we had to step away from some of our business that we'd been investing in. So we had to make choices about where we would focus our effort. And that's always really difficult. Primarily with small music venues, that was a really difficult decision to make, to say, hey, we may not be in this business for this time. And, pulling back from that to focus on making sure that we had a business and that we were focused on creators who were bringing people back to events was a really difficult trade-off. And so those are, I outline those not because I want to painfully relive them, but because I think that there are, decisions that a leader has to make that otherwise they would never make. But when it all ladders up to the North Star, you realize that I not to toot my own horn, but that separates good from great leadership.
Right.
Absolutely. And, we're all faced with that every few years. I look back to when I was CEO at Bank of New York Mellon's Canadian arm and the financial crisis hits. And you've got to move fast and you've got to kind of make decisions with imperfect information.